So what happened after we got it together, it took about a week, week and a half. I worked on it for a little while. Um, he said, okay, go ahead and file it. So I filed it with the courts. I sent it to them, certified. And they're a pretty bad company. The research that I had done showed 19 lawsuits, at least 19 lawsuits in superior courts across the nation. And they were accused and found guilty of things like fraud, harassment, um, making threats, perjury. The list was pretty long, and they were very creative, but they didn't get away with all of it. But they're still in business. So went ahead and I filed it, and then I sent them a certified copy. The next thing I get in the mail is the proof of the actual court hearing, whereas they changed the amount that they're suing me for under 10,000 to now under 25,000 in retaliation for what I sent them. So I called my friend and I said, they're retaliating. And he said, that's okay. He says they're just upset because they know they have to answer that by law. They don't want to answer it. And I said, well, what happens if they don't? He said, well, then you just tell the judge they're in contempt of court. And he has to order an award on your behalf, for at least for contempt. So that's an easy $500 in your pocket. So I was like, okay, well, they haven't responded yet. And he said, well, just keep looking for it. So sure enough, like a week later, they sent a FedEx package, and I pull out 2 printed computer pages. They're actually dated at the bottom. I think it said 1996. And they had, one had just a couple lines of print. The other one had like another 3 or 4 lines of print and some computer jargon on the side. It had what seemed to be my name. But of course, as we all know, there's many people with our same names. Just as I can tell you, there are, in the state of California, at least 6 women with my name, same spelling, same age. So it was my name, it looked like. And they had an account number and some other information that didn't make any sense to me at all. So that's what they sent in response to this. Not good enough. So I called my friend and he said, nope, you can still get them for contempt. He said they need to answer what you sent, specifically. And I said, okay. So I waited. I waited until the next court hearing. On the paperwork they had sent, remember it said now they were suing me for under 25 because they're upset now. Also on that paperwork, because when you're pro per, you got to look at everything and make sure you read the fine print. So I'm looking at every word. I'm reading it real slow, and it had said that the court hearing was going to be held in Department 3 at the courthouse above, unless a box was checked and another address was put in to another courthouse. The box wasn't checked. There wasn't another courthouse. So I said to myself, oh, okay, so we're going to the courthouse in my county, which would make sense. This is where I live. I get there. I'm undressing for, of course, security to get through. And I'm looking at the board, and I don't see the department. And I say to the guard, I said, excuse me. And he said, yeah. I said, where's Department 3? Oh, he said, yeah, that's 45 minutes away, in Vallejo. Yeah, they do civil cases. We just do family court cases here. And I thought, oh my God, they did it on purpose. Now, of course, I walk in 15 minutes before the hearing. I have no way of getting 45 minutes across town to get there on time, which is exactly what they bet on. And of course, as I'm driving there as fast as I can legally, I'm going through in my head and I'm saying, they can't do this. They can't get away with this. This is not right. And then of course, why would they do this to me? And that was a simple answer. The simple answer was because they knew they would lose. Period. They knew they would lose. Well, unfortunately for them, My absence did not incur a default judgment, which is what they expected and what usually happens. When you don't show up to court, you will usually lose by default. But I think I actually called down to the courthouse on the way there. I can't quite remember. But something interceded on my behalf, be it God or what. But I went to of course, the judge's chambers area and talked to his secretary and explained what happened. She didn't really care. But she said, she gave me the new court date, basically told me I wouldn't have showed up at the wrong courthouse if I had taken the time to appoint myself an attorney. There again, you get punished for defending yourself. And then gave me the court date. I proceeded to lose the paper that I wrote the little court date on, and had to go back to my county clerk's office to find out a couple days before the hearing exactly what time I was supposed to show up. So I show up to the clerk's office and I give her the file number, and I say, can you look this up and let me know what time the next hearing is? It should be coming up in the next couple days. She goes to the file and she says, oh. She goes, well, this has been dropped. And I remember I stood there. It was like shock. And then just I wanted to jump up and down and scream, and but you have to be very coy and professional, and so I just busted out in this big huge smile, and I said, why is that? And she says, I don't know. She said, they just decided to drop. And I said, well, when? And she said, well, yesterday. And the hearing actually was the next day at 8:30 in the morning. So 2 days before the hearing, they dropped it. They dropped it because their ploy to get a default judgment didn't work, and they knew they were going to lose. So when I tell you these forms work, I'm telling you they work. After that, after the lawsuit, what I learned was that I had needed to respond within 30 days. So what I do now, I just send these in for the 30-day response. And do you know what happens? No more phone calls, no letters, nothing. So believe me when I tell you, you need to stand up for yourself. You need to stand up for yourself, and you need to fight against debt that is alleged debt. Okay? They need to prove it's your debt, period. And you need to make them.